All right, let's get started today on our backs, feet on the floor, and maybe take your arms up and overhead and just begin to breathe, opening up through the chest, through the rib cage. We're going to explore a back bend today, wheel pose or Urdhva Dhanurasana or upward facing bow. So we want to open up through the chest space, through the heart space, creating openness through the front side of the body and strengthen the back side of the body. We'll also need to open up to the front of the hip flexors to enable us to achieve that wheel pose today. So taking a couple of breaths. Maybe today, letting go of our tendency to chase perfection and just let our breath be our guide, not worrying about the clock, just find calmness and safety as our guides today. Let's bring our hands by our sides and just do a few sequential bridges. So pressing into the floor with your feet, just slowly one vertebrae at a time, lift all the way up, and then exhale, slowly release it one vertebrae at a time all the way down. And then again, one vertebrae at a time, lifting all the way up, and exhale, one vertebrae going all the way down. And do about 3 more times at your own pace. So becoming more aware of the body's positioning today, softening the areas or engaging our areas as needed. Just a couple more. So we're going to prep our body for that wheel pose. We do have a thunder rolling and a storm brewing today, so we're going to just practice right through that. And then we're going to straighten our right leg out in front of us along the floor. We're going to do a leg lift. So inhale, lift the leg up, and then exhale and bring it down. So we're going to strengthen through that quadricep. Inhale, lift it up, and exhale and bring it down. So about 8 more, so we do about 10 total. And then after you're finished on that side, switch sides and do your leg lift on the other side. Again, about 10 repetitions. Inhaling and bringing it up, and then exhaling and bringing it down. Or exhaling and bringing it up, inhale and bringing it down. So our yoga breath is opposite from a Pilates breath. So just do what comes natural to you. And after that last one, both legs lift straight up to the sky. And we're going to do a double leg lift. So maybe only about 5 this time. Allow both legs to come all the way down. And then bring both legs all the way back up. And both legs down. And if that's too intense, just do the one at a time. And you don't have to lower them all the way to the floor. You can let them come a foot off the floor or 6 inches off the floor. Keeping the abdominals engaged might actually be a little bit easier. And again, only about 5. So maybe just 1 more. And then draw the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the legs, and we're going to prepare for a twist. So allow the feet to come to the floor, and then drop your knees over to the right, hips to the left, little spinal twist. And then twist in the other direction. And then back to the center. Lifting the legs straight up to the sky once more. Little ab lift here, hands reaching up to the sky. And then we're just gonna lift our head and our shoulders off the floor. Little crunch as we reach our fingers towards our toes. And just do about 10 little crunches here as we lift up and bring it down. And lift up and bring it down. And then let's draw the knees back into the chest once more. And then we're going to come to all fours. So you can roll to your side or roll forward and back. And then come to your hands and your knees. And we'll move through a few cat-cows here. So inhale and arch the spine, and then exhale and round it up tall. And as you continue to move through your cat-cow, begin to tap into your Ujjayi breathing. So breathing in and out through the nose, that Darth Vader breath, that right in and out through the nose. Really constrict the glottis at the back of that throat to create that sounding breath, that Ujjayi breathing. And one more. And then back to a neutral spine. Spine stabilization here, right leg back, left arm forward. So opposite arm is leg. And really reach those fingertips up and towards the front of the room. So you want to strengthen through the back side of the body. Spine stabilization. Now we can hold right here, or taking a sunbird. We're going to bend that right heel to the right bum, left arm reaches back and tries to find the foot or the ankle. And then push the foot into the hand. So we create a back bend and an arch. And we're going to see this bind later in the class, so just notice whether or not it feels good or not to you today. And slowly release, switching sides. Left leg goes back and right arm goes forward. Spine stabilization on the other side. And keep the abs nice and tight. And then sunbird on this side. Left heel goes to the left bum, right arm reaches back, grabbing that bind. Again, that foot pushes into the hand, opening the heart space forward, pressing that left hand into the earth to open through the chest. Again, we want to open through the shoulder area today. And then slowly release into a child's pose from here. Hips go back towards your heels. Arms reach out in front of you. And we thought the storm was calming down, but it seems to have picked back up again. So walking your hands back to your knees, sitting in a hero's pose or a heel sitting pose. Sitting up nice and tall. So you can keep the heels underneath your hips if you want, or you can allow those feet to separate ever so slightly so that the hips sink down between the ankles. That's your choice. Either heel sitting pose or hero's pose. From here, we're going to interlace the fingers, press the palms up towards the sky, sitting in that hero's. Let's exhale and bring those hands down by our sides, and then we're going to walk the hands back out, preparing for down dog. So walk the hands all the way out in front of you, square off the feet, tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, downward facing dog. And then walking our feet towards our hands in a forward fold at the top of the mat. Or middle of your mat. And then gently rolling the body up to stand. Let's inhale those arms all the way up and overhead. Once again, interlace the fingers, press the palms up. And from here, adding a side bend. Right hand grabs a hold of that left wrist and lean over to the right. Inhaling back to center, over to the left. Left hand grabs the right wrist and lean to the left. Inhaling it back to the center, we're going to twist to the right. So open the arms and twist. Reaching left arm forward, right arm back. Keeping that right hip pressing forward. Inhale, reach it back to center and twist to the other side. Right arm forward, left arm back. This time that left hip presses forward. Inhaling it back to the center, standing camel pose from here. Hands come to the low back or low sacrum area. Hips press forward, heart lift up. So keep lifting with the sternum as the hips press forward to the front of the room. Inhale back up to center. We're going to exhale into a forward fold. Soften through the knees and let the body melt forward. Let the chin collapse to the chest. Let's walk our hands over to the right. And walk our hands over to the left. And then bringing it back to the center. And slowly bring the body back up to stand. Inhaling the arms up and overhead. Then exhale the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, preparing for Yoga Mudra. Inhale, so interlace the fingers. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, forward fold from here. Lift those arms up and over. Soften through the knees. So again, our focus here is through the chest area, the shoulders. We can find space there, preparing for that wheel pose. So we really want to find space. We want those shoulders to relax, the front of the shoulders, the pectorals. Exhale, release your hands all the way down to your mat. We're going to step into a lunge. Right foot forward, left foot back. So centering yourself on your mat. And let's drop that back knee all the way to the floor. Kneeling lunge to start. And then maybe turn your gaze forward. Shoulders back and down. And then 3 vinyasa. Right foot steps back to meet the left. Lowering down. Inhale, upward facing or cobra. Exhale, downward facing. And then opposite leg is going to come forward, should be your left, and then drop the back knee. Need a towel? And just drop the back knee and open the heart forward. And then both feet to the top of your mat, forward fold. Top of the mat, forward fold. Let's finish the salutation. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhaling all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands behind your back, interlace the fingers. Inhale, lift the heart and the chest. Exhale, Yoga Mudra. Soften through the knees. Let those arms come up and over. Exhale, release your hands down to the mat. We'll have the left foot forward this time, right foot goes back. Dropping the back knee, adding the twist. Left arm reaches up to the sky, twisting lunge. Exhale, release your hands down, moving through vinyasa. Left foot steps back to meet the right, lower down. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. And opposite leg steps forward for your kneeling lunge on the other side. Dropping the back knee, adding the twist. Right arm reaches up, open to the heart. And release the hand down, both feet top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands behind the back. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, Yoga Mudra, forward fold. Nice big breath here. Exhale, release your hands down to your mat. Back to the right side, right foot forward, left foot back. Dropping the back knee, adding the twist, and then maybe adding the bind. Bending that back leg, right arm reaches back to grab a hold of that foot, and then open through that chest again. So roll that right shoulder back. Imagine that twist action, and that's what we're trying to get here. So that twist of right shoulder back, left shoulder forward, pushing the foot into the hand, that sunbird sensation. And then slowly release, reach that right arm back up. Exhale the hand down, moving through vinyasa, stepping it back, lower down. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. And 2 more breaths here. And then left foot comes forward into the lunge, twisting on the left side. Drop the back knee, add the twist. And then if this feels good, bend the back leg and that upper arm reaches back. And then get that twist sensation again. Roll that left shoulder back, right shoulder forward. And then slowly release, going back into your twist. Hands come down, both feet top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to stand. And then exhale into our chair pose with goal pose. So arms are going to be out to the side like goal pose as the hips sink back to the heels. Yeah. So we really want to open through the chest here. So squeeze those shoulder blades together behind the heart. Really open through the upper back, or open through the chest, and squeeze that upper back. Exhale, release your hands down into a forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Let's step the right foot back so the left leg stays forward this time. And we're going to hold our lunge right here with the knee lifted. Just pause here, nice low lunge. And then from here, we're going to lift into a warrior one. So plant the back foot solid into the floor. Inhale, lift those arms up into warrior one. And then we're going to bring the hands behind the neck, elbows wide. So roll that left hip back, right hip forward, square your hips off, elbows nice and wide. So press those shoulders, or press those elbows back and behind you. So you're squeezing those shoulder blades together. From here, let's interlace those fingers, press the palms up to the sky, adding a little crescent here. Maybe take your gaze up at those hands, adding a little bit of a back bend here. Nice. And then bring your gaze forward, release the arms, reach all the way up. Exhale and bring them all the way down to the floor, stepping it back, lowering down. Inhale, upward facing, and exhale, downward facing. And then we're going to bring the opposite leg forward. The right leg comes forward. Nice low lunge. Keeping the knee lifted this time. Beginning to power up through those legs. And then preparing for warrior one, plant that back heel down to the ground. Inhale, lift those arms up. Hands behind the head, elbows wide. So hands behind the head, elbows wide. Squeeze those shoulder blades towards each other. Really open through the heart. So we should be flexing those back muscles here. Interlace the fingers, press the palms up towards the sky. And then when you're ready, take your gaze up, add a little back bend. And then bring your gaze forward, relax those arms back into your regular warrior one. And then exhale, hands come down to the mat. Both feet to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to stand. Exhale back into your chair pose with goal pose. Sit the hips back, arms out wide. And then slowly come all the way back up to stand. So moving into some balancing from here, we're going to link a few poses together. So we're going to start with tree pose. So let's shift our weight onto our left foot and lift our right leg up for tree. So we are going to step into a warrior from here. So just be mindful you have enough space behind you on your mat. I think you're fine. So find your tree pose. And then from here, that right foot steps back into warrior two. So step that foot all the way back, warrior two, reaching those arms in opposite directions. So in our warrior two, we're going to take cow face arms. So left arm, reaches up towards the sky and touches behind the neck. And then right arm wraps behind the back. Maybe the hands take the bind, or they hold your ponytail or your shirt. Or that right arm can just wrap behind the back as well. Cow face arms. From here, we're going to move into reverse. So allow that right arm to continue to move around your back, and that left arm to reach up towards the sky for a reverse warrior. Reverse warrior. So maybe that hand reaches the front of the thigh. Raising that arm all the way up and back. From here, side angle pose. Forearm comes to the thigh, right arm reaches all the way up and over. Into triangle pose from here, straighten that left front leg. Maybe that right arm drops the hip or wraps even behind the back. Finding the front of that left thigh. Inhale, reach it back up into triangle pose. Bring both hands down to your mat. Pivot to face the front of your mat. Both feet top of the mat, forward fold. And then slowly come back up to stand. Prepare for the other side. Tree pose on the left side. Left foot comes in. And then into our warrior two from here, step it back, warrior two. Once you find your warrior two, find your cow face arms. Right arm reaches up, left arm reaches back. Maybe we take the bind, or that arm can just wrap behind the back. From here into reverse, right arm reaches up and back, left arm wraps around behind, maybe finding the front of that thigh. Into our side angle pose, forearm comes to the thigh, arm reaches up and over, side angle. Into triangle pose from here, straighten the front leg, lifting the arm up. Maybe that arm wraps behind the back, finding the front of the thigh. And then relax, reach that upper arm back up to the sky for our triangle again. Exhale, both hands down. Pivoting on the feet, both feet top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, coming all the way back up to stand. Inhale the arms up and overhead. From here, our warrior three variation. We're going to shift the weight forward into that left leg. Allow the right leg to float back into warrior three. Now, thinking of our sunbird from earlier, we can hold warrior three. Or if we want to take the bind, we can bend that back leg, opposite arm reaches for that foot, and then maybe the opposite arm touches the floor and catches us on the ground. Or you can always hold warrior three. slowly release, bringing the body all the way up. Let's prepare for our warrior on the other side. Opposite leg goes back. Warrior 3. Pause here and find your balance. And maybe take the bind. Bend the knee. Opposite arm reaches back. Maybe the opposite hand comes to the floor. Push the foot into the hand, create that arch in the spine. Find that sunbird. Slowly release, everything comes down. Inhale, bring everything back up to stand. Exhale, hands by your side. Dancer variation from here. Dancer, so we're gonna bend that right leg back, bring the right hand and the right hand reaches back for that right foot. Now we can bring both hands behind, grabbing that foot, or we can use just the one. Squeeze the heel to the bum and press the hips forward. Really get a good quad stretch here. So knees stay together and hips press forward. Now if we're feeling some space in the front of the chest, maybe push that foot into the hands and see if we can create a chest opener here. So just push that foot back, yeah. Just push that foot back and see if we can stretch through the shoulders. And exhale and release, other side. Start with this dancer, bending the left leg. And left hand reaches back. Maybe both hands reach back. We might float away here. The water keeps coming up. And then push the foot into the hand. Create that arch in the back. And slowly release. Inhale, let's bring those arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Let's find ourselves into downward facing dog. So hands forward, hands back, downward facing dog. So next is coming down to your belly. Is it really wet? All right, I'm gonna pause. So taking a few more breaths here in our downward facing dog. And then slowly let's drop to our knees and into child's pose, sitting your hips back towards your heels, arms reached out in front of you. And then we're going to move into a dolphin. So coming up onto your hands and your knees, and then coming down to your elbows and squaring off your arms, and then tucking your toes under, lifting the hips up into a dolphin pose, keeping the head off the floor, and then walking the feet towards your face to bring some of the weight into the forearms, and then really open up through the armpits and through the chest here. Since we know we're going to go into that back bend, right, we want to create a little bit more space in the chest and in that armpit and chest area. So we're kind of maybe taking a little bit further than we normally would, but pressing and opening in this space. And then slowly walking your feet back and dropping back down to your knees, back into your child's pose, releasing back. And then we're going to come all the way down to our bellies. So shift the weight forward and lower down to your tummy. We're going to do a little swimming action here. So reaching our arms out in front of us. We're going to reach our right arm up and our left leg up. Opposite arm and leg, and then release. release, and then the other side, left arm and right leg, lift up and come down. And then just repeat that action, lift up and come down, and lift up and come down. So continue moving up and down. Let's do 3 more. And then into locust pose, arms go back by your sides. And we're going to bring those legs together, lift the legs up off the floor, lift the chest up off the floor, reach those arms back towards the heels. Nice. Again, so strengthening the back side of the body to help aid us in that back bend. Exhale and release, take your head to one side. And then as we go to repeat locust, you can either move into our bow pose. So remember, wheel is upward facing bow, or this is Dhanurasana, our bow pose, or repeat locust pose. So come back to the center. So we either bend the legs, reaching back for those ankles for bow, or we can just repeat locust. And then press the feet into the hands so that it pushes back and lifts our heart. Nice. Into our bow pose. So just imagine our wheel, right? If we were in a full wheel, our body is in the same position, just inverted in space. And then exhale, release. Take your head to the other side. And then let's prop up onto our elbows, pausing in a Sphinx pose. So the other key component, we've been talking about the different areas of the space to open up for wheel. So opening up to the armpit, the chest, strengthening the backside. The other part is that hip flexor and that quadricep. So we're going to move into a frog pose. So we're going to bend that right heel towards the right bum, and we're going to reach that right arm back to grab a hold of that foot, and we're going to squeeze that heel towards our bum, and maybe we pivot and turn our fingertips to the front of the room. So we're going to use the heel of the hand and then turn your fingertips this way. Yep. Elbow up high as we press that heel, kind of like we do in a hero's pose, where that heel goes right to the outer edge of that hip into that frog. Or a half frog, I guess, as we're only doing one leg. And then we'll slowly release, and then we'll go to the other side. Bend the left heel to the left bum, get a good hold of it, pull the heel in towards the bum, and then once we get it nice and tight, pivot those fingers to face the front, and the heel of the hand presses into the top of the foot. And again, that heel goes right towards that outer edge, right to the glute, right to that little muscle on the outside of that gluteus muscle, gluteus medius area. Nice frog pose. And then slowly release, back into Sphinx. Legs reach back, heart reaches forward. And then let's lift into a cobra pose. So walk the hands back underneath those shoulders. And then press and lift up into cobra. Nice. We're using that upper back muscle to lift our body up. And then back into our child's pose, pressing the hips back towards the heels. And then we're going to have a seat, bringing those legs all the way out in front of us for a head to knee pose. So we'll start with just the legs out straight. Find your comfortable seated position. And then right foot goes into the left thigh for a head to knee pose. Inhale, reaching the arms up. And then exhale, forward fold over that straight leg. From here, we're going to lift into a rock star. So we're going to keep our right leg bent. We're going to bring the body up. Right hand is going to plant behind that right hip. And we're going to press into the floor, lifting our hips up off the ground. Press that right knee and right shin into the ground. Reach that left arm all the way up and back and create a back bend. So maybe even reach those fingertips up and back and behind you. Yeah. So we're creating that back bend. Think of that wheel pose. We're preparing the body for that. The hips are pressing forward. We're kind of in that half position, getting our body used to what this feels like. And then slowly bring it down, and we're going to switch sides. Left foot comes in, right leg extends, head to knee pose on the other side. Forward fold here. And then bringing the body up, lifting into a rock star on this side. Left hand by the left hip, press into the floor. Right arm reaches up and back. Knee and shin press into the floor. Again, make it into that glorious back bend as we press the hips forward and reach the arm back and behind us. Nice. And slowly bring it down. Both legs out straight into staff pose. Let's create some symmetry. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, add our forward fold. And now we're slowly going to make our way down towards the floor. So shift the weight forward, bending the legs, and then roll yourself all the way down to your mat. And we're going to start with just a couple bridges, so tapping back into what that bridge feels like. So sequential bridges like we did at the beginning. Tuck the tailbone under and then gently lift up one vertebrae at a time, lifting up into bridge. One vertebrae at a time, lifting up. So now we're going to notice at the front of the thighs, the front of the hips, how they feel, and then exhale and slowly release it down. Then we're going to do that again, one vertebrae at a time, lifting up into bridge. This time we're going to interlace the fingers underneath our, behind our backs. And we're going to roll those shoulders under and notice how it feels at the front of the chest, right? So we want to be open through the thighs, open through the hip flexors, and open through the chest. And then exhale and slowly release. So we can choose to do one of those two versions, or now maybe moving into wheel pose. So arms go up and overhead, fingertips point towards your shoulders. We're going to keep the elbows up tall to the ceiling and arms parallel to each other. And then press into the floor. Maybe the top of the head comes to the ground, or like Gabriella, just lifts all the way up. We still want to keep the knees tracking towards each other, keep that inward action so we protect the low sacrum, right? Pressing up and lifting. And just be mindful to tuck the chin and lower one vertebrae at a time when you're ready to come down. Slowly lower down, come all the way down to the floor. Take just a pause. We're going to repeat that or repeat a bridge. Just give yourself a moment here in between. Full wheel pose. Another variation, if you have a hard time with your wrists, with those fingertips pulling back, I'm going to assist Gabriella. She can do it, but I'm just going to show a variation. If you have a partner, they can stand right over your head. They can reach their arms back and grab a hold of your ankles. Grab a hold of my ankles. So this is going to take that element of the wrist out of it, and then she can, you might want to wrap your thumbs this way, and then she can use my ankles as support as she presses and then lift. And then she can lift into her bridge this way. This will take the pressure out of those wrists if you have any wrist issues. You can also do this against a wall with a block. It just helps to reduce that 90 degree that some people have a hard time doing. So lifting into that bridge and then, or wheel, and then slowly releasing all the way down. Coming back out of your wheel pose. And then into our inversion from here. We'll start with our legs up to the sky. And just pause here for your gentle inversion. You might want to explore wheel a little bit more. You can always lift one leg up or alternate legs. You know, do different things with your wheel pose once you're comfortable there, especially when you have that space. If you worked all class to open through the chest and the shoulders and your body's ready to go there, you might want to explore some other arm balancing or things that require an open chest, like a shoulder stand or a handstand. Just enjoy your inversion, whichever one you choose. And slowly releasing out of your inversion. And releasing all the way down to your backs. You might want to recenter yourself on your mat. And then we're going to bring the right leg in as we come into a reclined big toe hold. So right leg comes in and then reaches up to the sky for a hamstring. So we can grab a hold of that toe or anywhere along the leg that feels good. And then part of doing a back bend is we open up the entire front side of the body, so much so that we want to re-engage our core. So we're going to do a little bit of crunches, a little bit of abdominal core connection here just to reconnect that body. So with that right leg up towards the sky, reach both arms up towards the sky, and we're just going to do little crunches. Reach up towards that right toe and down again, and just do about 5 or 6. Nice. And then release, and then we can switch sides. Bring the left leg in. Start with that big toe hold, that hamstring stretch. And then let's reconnect to our abdominals as that leg reaches up towards the sky and the arms reach up. And whatever you did on the other side, 5 or 6 little crunches as we reach up and down. Reach up and then relax it down. And release. Both knees come into the chest as we prepare for spinal twist. And then dropping the knees over to the right, spinal twist. And legs coming up and taking to the other side, spinal twist. And bringing them back to the center. Let's separate the feet so they're hip width apart or a little bit wider than hip width. Let the knees knock towards each other. And then let's take the arms up and overhead, grabbing opposite elbows. And then just let the arms, so all the way overhead like this. Yeah. And then just let those arms relax and grabbing those opposite elbows, opening through the chest and the heart. It might even feel good to let those arms extend even further, a little higher. And then let's slowly and gently find our way into relaxation pose, whatever that means to you. You can stay right here if that feels good to you, or find yourself into relaxation. Just take some inhales and exhales here, and as we breathe, just feel the openness of the chest space. We did a lot to open up the heart and open up the shoulders, open up the front of the hips, so just allow those areas to soften and relax. And hopefully you let go of that perfect wheel pose and just let all the preparatory poses take you through your practice today. Knowing that if you didn't get there today, that's okay. We're just working our body to get there in the future or get the same benefits from a modified variation. And let your body just relax and rest in your do nothing pose, your relaxation pose, your shavasana. And as always, feel free to stay here for as long as you like. If you'd like a few extra moments to just enjoy the peace and quiet, enjoy some time alone. Take as much time as you need to reset and rejuvenate for your day. And then whenever you're ready, begin to slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes, slowly awakening the body. And then we'll gently roll to our favorite side. And then pressing yourself all the way up to a seated position. And when we come to seated, let's interlace those fingers, press the palms all the way up to the ceiling like we've been doing through class. Opening through the heart space. Take a big breath in. And then exhale, let out with a sigh. And then bring your hands to heart center. And I honor the place in you where the universe resides, that place of love, light, peace, and truth. And when you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me, there is only one of us. Namaste.
Namaste.